I want you to try a little visualization exercise with me for a second. Close your eyes, well, unless you're driving, of course, and imagine you are walking through a neighborhood.
Oh,
But not, the suburbs and not some downtown district. I want you to picture one of the most densely packed, under-resourced slums you can imagine in a sprawling metropolis.
so thinking narrow alleyways, maybe open drains, makeshift roofing, the kind of place where space is at an absolute premium.
Exactly. The infrastructure is crumbling, the walls are stained, peeling paint. Now, traditionally, when city planners or even, regular folks walk through a place like this, they look at those walls and they see one thing. Neglect. Decay, a problem that needs to be bulldozed or hidden away.
Right, it's urban blight. That's the standard term for it.
But what if I told you that that crumbling, dirty wall was actually a textbook? And I don't mean that metaphorically.
Yeah.
What if that wall was potentially a better, more effective teacher for that specific community than a shiny, four-walled classroom could ever be?
It sounds like a complete contradiction. I mean, we're all conditioned to think of education as something that happens inside a building.
Right.
You need a roof, you need rows of desks, you need silence. The idea that a wall in a noisy alleyway could be a superior educational tool, well, that requires a massive shift in perspective.
And that shift is exactly what we're unpacking today. We're talking about the concept of living walls of learning. And it's an idea that has just taken center stage globally because of a major news event.
It really has.
Yeah.
We're looking at the headlines around the Global Teacher Prize 2026. For those of you who don't follow in the education sector that closely, this isn't just a plaque and a handshake.
No,
This is widely considered the Nobel Prize for Teaching.
it's the big one.
It is, organized by the Varkey Foundation with UNESCO and GEMS Education. It's prestigious, and it comes with a serious financial component, a $1 million award.
Wow. That's roughly 9 crore rupees.
And this year, at the World Government Summit in Dubai, that prize went to an Indian educator named Rouble Nagi.
And just to set the scene, this wasn't mailed to her. It was presented by the Crown Prince of Dubai, Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. I mean, that is the level of visibility we're talking about. But here's the hook that really grabbed me when I was reading the briefing. Rouble Nagi isn't your traditional teacher. She didn't spend 20 years standing at a blackboard with a piece of chalk.
No, she didn't. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're looking at an artist turned educator.
Yeah.
She basically took a paintbrush and decided that if the children couldn't come to the school, well...
She would paint the school onto the world around them.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to figure out how that actually works. How did an artist end up bringing 1 million children into the fold of formal education? And why are her methods, which, let's be honest, might just sound like beautification to some working in places where traditional systems have completely failed?
It's a question of access and psychology, as much as it is about pedagogy. But to understand the how, we really have to look at the why. And the why starts with a very specific, almost cinematic moment involving a pencil.
The story gave me chills. We have to go back 27 years. Rouble Nagi is young, she's enthusiastic, and she's conducting an art workshop in a low-income community.
Right.
She meets this child, and naturally she hands him a pencil so he can draw.
A standard interaction.
You'd think so, but the kid just stares at it. He doesn't grab it, doesn't put it to paper. He looks at it like it's some kind of alien artifact.
Because he didn't know what it was.
He had literally never seen a pencil before.
Let's just pause on that for a second. Well,
Yeah.
we talk a lot about the digital divide, who has high-speed internet and who doesn't. But this is a literacy divide so deep that the most basic tool of written communication is unrecognizable.
It's a complete disconnect. You're there to talk about art and expression, and the child doesn't even have the vocabulary of tools to participate.
That moment is what we'd call a catalyst event. Nagi has spoken about this a lot.
Yeah.
She said that moment shifted her entire worldview. And you have to remember her background to really feel the contrast here.
Right.
She wasn't born in a slum. She was born in Jammu and Kashmir in 1980. She's the daughter of a retired army officer, Colonel Jian Singh Sudan.
So she comes from a background of discipline, service, and stability.
Exactly, and high culture. She studied at the Slade School of Fine Art in London. That is one of the premier art institutions in the world. Before she became a teacher in this sense, she was an internationally acclaimed artist.
Doing what? Sculpture?
Sculpture, mixed media installations. We're talking over 150 exhibitions globally.
That is such a stark contrast. You're navigating the world of galleries and exhibitions where art is about aesthetic beauty or, let's be real, investment value.
Right.
And then you're face to face with a child who lacks the means to draw a single line.
Precisely. And that's where the friction creates the spark. She realized that in her world, art was a luxury. But for this kid, art could be a utility. It could be a bridge. She shifted her focus from aesthetic beauty to social transformation.
She chose to combine art, activism, and education rather than, follow a conventional teaching path or stay comfortably in the gallery circuit.
So let's talk about the mechanics of this social transformation, because combining art and education, well, that can mean a lot of things. It could just mean finger painting on Fridays.
Right. But Nagi did something different. She created these living walls.
This is the core innovation. Through her organization, the Rouble Nagi Art Foundation, she started going into these low-income communities, slums, villages, places often neglected by city planning. And instead of trying to build a new building,
Which is expensive, bureaucratic, takes years.
all of that, instead she just looked at what was already there.
The walls.
The walls. She turns the environment itself into the school. She paints these huge murals on abandoned or neglected walls. But, this is the key part, they aren't just pretty pictures.
Okay.
They aren't just decorative landscapes. They are curriculum on concrete.
So if I'm walking past one of these walls, instead of some graffiti or a political poster, I'm seeing what exactly?
You're seeing the alphabet, you're seeing numbers for arithmetic, you're seeing diagrams about public health, how to wash your hands, environmental awareness,
Yeah.
even history and science concepts. The walls become these interactive educational tools.
That's genius in its simplicity. If a kid is playing cricket in the street or just hanging out, they are literally playing inside the lesson.
And that is the logic behind it. Think about the psychological barrier of a formal school. We often overlook this. For a child who has never been to school or whose parents are illiterate, a classroom can be a very intimidating space.
It's a foreign institution. It has gates, rules, it implies authority.
It feels like a place where you don't belong, like you're stepping into someone else's world. But the street, the wall outside your neighbor's house, that's your territory. That's your safe space. By putting the learning there, Nagi made education less intimidating and more joyful.
It's accessible. It isn't hidden away behind a gate.
It lowers the barrier to entry to basically zero. You just have to keep your eyes open, and it changes the whole vibe of the community. Instead of rotting concrete, you have color, you have information. It signals to the child and everyone that this place matters.
And the scale of this is, it's mind-blowing. We aren't talking about one or two walls in a single neighborhood in Mumbai.
No. Her foundation has set up over 800 of these educational centers. They're operating in more than 100 low-income communities and villages all across India.
That is a massive operational footprint. But I want to push back a little, or at least ask the skeptic's question.
Sure.
Painting a wall is great, but does it actually get kids into school? Does seeing an A on a wall really translate to literacy?
That is the crucial question. Is it just art, or is it education? And the data suggests it is a powerful funnel for education. Over the last 2 decades, Nagi's work has helped integrate more than 1 million children into formal education.
1 million. That is just a staggering number.
It is, and we have to be careful to understand what integrate means here. It doesn't mean the wall grants them a degree. It means these living walls and the center she establishes alongside them, they act as a bridge.
Okay.
They catch the children who are out of the system, the dropouts, the ones who never even enrolled, and they provide that first step of structured learning. Once the child has that confidence and that basic literacy, the foundation helps transition them into the formal schooling system.
So it's a funnel. It's a way to capture the kids that the traditional system just completely missed.
Correct. But here is where it gets really interesting for me, and where the deep dive gets into the weeds of sort of development economics. It's not just about getting them in the door.
It's about keeping them there.
It's about keeping them there. Retention is usually the nightmare in these communities. You can get a kid to sign up, but if the family needs them to work to buy food, or if they fall behind, they drop out.
Yeah, poverty forces a prioritization of the immediate over the long term.
Exactly. But the sources highlight that her programs have cut school dropout rates by over 50% in the areas where they operate.
50%. That's huge. How is she managing that? A painted wall can't pay the rent.
No, it can't. And this shows that Nagi isn't just an artist. She's become a social strategist. It seems to be a much more holistic approach. The centers don't just teach ABCs.
So what else?
They provide remedial support for those who are struggling. They offer psychosocial assistance. If a child is dealing with trauma or issues at home, there's support there. It's a whole support network.
And crucially, I think I read this, she realized she couldn't just target the kids.
No. If you want to save the child's education, you have to empower the mother.
Right, she goes after the whole family structure.
Specifically the women. The foundation offers vocational training and literacy programs for women in these communities.
Which makes total sense. If the mother values education and has skills herself, the entire dynamic of the household changes.
Exactly. It lifts the economic baseline of the family. If the mother can earn an income through sewing, crafts, whatever, the financial pressure on the child to drop out and work decreases.
Plus, an educated mother is statistically much more likely to fight for her child's education.
It's a systemic solution to a systemic problem. She's creating a firewall around the child's education by stabilizing the home.
And she does this while building trust. You mentioned this earlier. How do you convince a family in poverty to prioritize this?
Yeah, that's not easy. She overcomes this by involving the local residents in the projects themselves. She doesn't just come in, paint, and leave.
That would feel like charity. Or even vandalism, depending on how you look at it.
Right. She involves the community in the creation of these spaces. They hold the brushes, they choose the walls. It becomes their project. It's not her school, it's their wall. That sense of ownership is vital.
That trust factor is everything. And speaking of trust and reaching difficult places, there's a specific story from the sources that really hit me. It happened right after she won the award.
Yes, the message from the line of control.
Right. So she wins this global prize. Her phone is probably blowing up with messages from dignitaries, politicians, old friends.
Of course.
But the one that stood out to her was a video message from a child studying at one of her computer centers.
And the location is what matters here. The child was from Karna village in Tangdar, Kashmir.
For those who don't know the geography, we need to explain this. Karna isn't just rural. It is right on the edge. That is near the line of control between India and Pakistan.
It is one of the most remote, sensitive, and geographically challenging regions in India. You're dealing with harsh terrain, potential conflict, extreme isolation.
And I think that really drives home the point of her work. It's one thing to do charity where it's accessible, but to have a functional computer center in a village near the Losi, that proves her philosophy works even in those extreme conditions.
It proves that the model is adaptable. Whether it's a slum in a humid coastal city or a remote village in the mountains, the core principle holds true. If you provide the tools and the mentorship, the desire to learn is there. It validates her entire career, from that first pencil to this moment.
So let's loop back to the prize itself. She's the first Indian woman to win this, is that right?
She is. She was chosen from over 5,000 nominations and applications from 139 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, that gives you a sense of the competition. It's a massive validation, not just for her, but for this style of grassroots innovative education.
And with that win comes the cash, $1 million. Now, we've all heard stories of lottery winners blowing it all on nonsense, but I have a feeling Rouble Nagi has a plan.
She certainly does. And this is where we see the evolution of her mission. She isn't just planning to paint more walls, though I'm sure that will continue. She plans to use the prize money to establish a vocational institute.
A vocational institute. So we're shifting gears from learning to read to learning to work.
Precisely. Think about the timeline. She has spent 20 years getting these kids into school. Now, that first generation she helped is growing up. They're literate, yes, but are they employable?
That's a powerful distinction. Education is great, but a job is freedom.
It is the logical next step. If they finish school but can't find work, the cycle of poverty doesn't truly break. The goal of this new institute is to offer free training in professional skills and digital literacy.
So it's a move towards employability and dignity.
That's the word the sources use, and I think it's perfect. Dignity. Because getting a handout allows you to survive, but getting a job allows you to live.
It's closing the loop. You start with the pencil, you proceed to the wall, you graduate to the school, and you finish at the institute with a career.
It creates a complete ecosystem. And it's incredible to see how a single encounter can spiral into something this massive. I mean, 27 years ago, she was just an artist looking at a kid who didn't know what a pencil was.
She could have easily just shrugged, finished her workshop, and gone back to her studio. It's so much easier to look away.
Most people do, but she didn't. She looked at the problem and decided to fix it using the tools she had. And now she's holding $1 million check and planning the future for thousands of young adults.
And in doing so, she has challenged the very definition of a school.
That is the big takeaway for me. She proved that you don't need a building to have a school. You don't need expensive infrastructure. You need a teacher, a method, and the belief that every child deserves a future.
It really makes you look at the city differently, doesn't it?
It does. It forces us to question our assumptions about where learning actually happens.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought. We walk past blank walls, empty lots, quiet corners in our cities every single day. We usually ignore them, or maybe we complain about them. But Rouble Nagi looked at a dirty wall and saw a textbook.
And it raises a provocative question for all of us. If a painted wall can launch 1 million educational journeys, what other invisible or neglected spaces in our own communities could be turned into tools for learning? If we just stopped looking at them as decay and started looking at them as canvases.
Something to think about the next time you're walking down the street and pass a bit of peeling paint. That might just be a classroom waiting to happen. Thanks for listening.